Good morning everyone and welcome back to Craft Eccentricity. Today we're going to have some fun. We're going to use some new KSCRAFT dies and I'm going to attempt to make a sandwich. I've never done this before, so it's either going to be great fun or it's going to be a disaster. Mind you, I think it's going to be great fun either way. So anyway, first of all, I'm going to give you a list of what I am using. First of all, the dies. I'm using the heart-shaped frame that I showed you in the haul die 2 days ago, and I will link back to that haul video if you'd like anything. So this is the heart frame. I used the toast stroke bread set, also in the haul video from the other day, and from those I made a sandwich flag, and I didn't have a cocktail stick unfortunately, and I do hope my camera is going to behave. Let's see if we can get some clarity there. And I had to use a barbecue stick, so if you've got a cocktail stick it's much better, or a little toothpick. Okay, so I made my little sandwich flag. I made the background for the sandwich to go on, and I used blue gingham there from Tuesday Morning. If you ever spot this pack, it's fabulous. There's like 60 sheets of different shades of gingham, and I think it was $2.99. so that is going to be the background for my sandwich. And of course I chose the gingham because it's like food related, but it's also going to be for my husband, so I chose blue. So that's going to be the background, and that is the sandwich flag. So I'll just move that out of the way. I then, using the bread toast die, cut out yellow and pink, which I can cut apart with a pair of scissors, which I hope are on my desk, and I actually can't see them, so that's going to be fun to begin with. So I'm going to be using some scissors to cut these apart to create my cheese and my ham. Obviously I'm going to need some sticky tape. Any variety that works will do. And I've used Dollar Tree foam board to cut my pieces, and I have also cut them in half using a craft knife, so that I've got 2 halves of a sandwich when I finish them. I'll put those there because I'm going to be using those in a second. And then the next thing, I found my scissors. Yes, you need scissors. Don't forget your scissors. I'll put those there so I don't lose them again. And I used a coffee filter and sprayed it with green ink. I do that inside a Ziploc bag. There's actually a video on my channel where I show you how to spray ink stuff without getting your craft room in a mess. And this is going to be my lettuce. So I scrunched it up as it was drying, and it's a wonderful shade, and I can just cut little bits and pieces off this and take them down inside my sandwich. Obviously don't glue them in your sandwich, because if you've used ink it's going to run into your glue and could stain your whole project. So use some sticky tape to put down your lettuce, and that's my lettuce, and that's a good close-up. So that's something else that I'm going to use. For the crust of my bread, I'm using, get it the right way around, a Touch 5 marker, and this one is Sand 107. Yeah, how close can we go? Not very close apparently. Oh, there we go. 107 sand, and it's a Touch 5 marker, and I'm going to use that for my crusts, so I'm just going to put that there. And then you need something that you can put some dings into your Dollar Tree foam, because of course bread is not completely smooth and flat. It's got sort of like crinkles and aeration pockets and things where the yeast made the bread rise. Now you can use the end of a paintbrush or anything that you want, but just make sure it's smooth, because you don't want to puncture the styrene that is in between the paper, because once you've gone dibbly 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 all over it, I don't even know if that's a word, you're going to peel the paper off. That's something I don't normally do with my foam board. I usually always leave the paper on because I like to colour it, but this time we're going to remove it because the styrene will give a nice sheen like real bread. So those are, I believe, looking at my table, all of the ingredients that we're going to use. So I'm just going to move those scissors and that pen there for a second, and we're going to start by creating texture on our bread. So I'm just going to take this and I'm just going to randomly ding it all over, and I hope that my camera's not too shaky. And you should be able to see that there. It's kind of like it's creasing it up, and you don't want it to be like perfectly uniform. You want it to look like that. Now let's see if we can peel the paper off and find out what is underneath. See, I am peeling off the surface. See that? Now you've got some dinged about texture as if it's bread. And of course styrene already has those little aeration pockets on the edge. So that's perfect. And I'm going to do exactly the same thing with my other 3 pieces. And then I will be straight back. Okay, I have dinged up the pieces. It's alright, I thought I was still on pause. I've dinged up the pieces and peeled the surface paper off. Underneath I've left the paper on because I just want to be able to stick stuff down onto that. So here is my bread, and this is going to be my bread underneath, but I need to colour the crusts in. So I'm going to use the fine tip of my Touch 5 marker, and I can see the markings there that come in the die so that I can colour where the crust is. So I'm just going to go around there. It does emboss all along the edge. So that's how you do that. And then you would need the thick side of your pen, and then you're just going to stroke it around the edge, because of course the edge of your bread is what gets baked. So we just touch it all the way around with your marker right onto the edge there, and that's how we're going to do the crusts of our bread. I think I need a little bit more there. So I'm going to finish doing the crusts of my bread and I will be back. Okay, so I've completed that, and I've got my 4 little slices which will make my whole sandwich, and we're going to start putting the sandwich together. So I'm just going to move those 2 pieces up there because this is what we are going to concentrate on. So here is the sandwich. Now I'm going to position these a small distance apart, enough so that I can get my scissors after I've put my lettuce down, because of course, although you want your lettuce to look, you know, sort of over that side a little bit crinkled and wrinkly, if you cut it with a knife it would be quite smooth. So we still want to get that sort of like definition and texture, but we're going to have to sort of like position our lettuce in a way that we're going to get the best out of it. So I'm going to look, ooh, I think probably I'll put my sandwich on top. You've got to remember I've never done this before, and think about how that lettuce is going to hang out. And I'm going to grab my scissors there and I'm just going to cut it all the way up there. And I'm not going to waste my lettuce, my coffee filter, because I can use those bits to fill it out some more. So putting my sandwich down again and looking at where that is, it's kind of hanging out quite nicely, but I want to take this piece off. I'm going to do it unevenly because that's what crinkly lettuce looks like, isn't it? Right, so I'm now going to position that onto there, and I'm quite happy with that. So I'm going to take my tape, which of course I'm always losing everything, and I only really want to tape up this section of the sandwich. Doesn't matter about the back section of the sandwich, because everything is going to hold together anyway. So here we have our 2 pieces of taped sandwich, and I'm just going to peel the tape off, which I've done there. And now, as I just said, we need to be able to get our scissors through there. So I'm going to position that about that far apart. I'm going to take my lettuce with all its crinkly parts, and I'm just going to press down. That's what I've got. And now I'm going to flip my sandwich over, and I'm going to cut straight through there. And hopefully, fingers crossed, and I'll go the other side, we're going to get the texture of the lettuce like the knife has just gone through it. See? Isn't that wonderful? That looks just like crinkly lettuce. I'm so glad you've joined me today for my little touch of insanity. Right, I'm just going to pause for a second while I go and grab my ham and cheese. Right, I've got my ham and my cheese, and I use the bread die to cut these out. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my scissors, and I'm just going to go straight up there and cut where I want it to be. Now, you can choose to have a little bit of cheese hanging out like that if you want to, or you can use the straight edge of your cheese and overlap. What I'm going to do is cut these into 4. I'm going to catch it down there so that I've got the curved section of cheese hanging out, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing here, because I just want to see a curly edge to my cheese. So that is going to be my cheese there. I'll move that into the picture so that you can see it. And as you can see, it's absolutely not perfect. We're having a lot of fun here. And now I'm going to cut my ham, and I want my ham to be straight. So I'm going to go straight up there with my scissors, and I've cut my ham. So I'm going to put my ham on there, which I believe is the correct position for my sandwich. Whoops. And put that there. And now I'm going to tape these bits down, and I will be back. So I've taped down my ham and my cheese, and as you can see, I didn't do it sort of like particularly tidy or anything, just enough so that you can see a little bit of filling. And now I'm going to use some more of my leftover lettuce and pop it in there. So I'm going to just cut it in half, and I'm going to pop that on there, I think, and pop that bit onto there. So I'm just going to get some tape, and I'm going to put some right down in the middle of my cheese, and I'm going to do the same on the other side. And I'm going to peel the backing off, hopefully, she says. And then I'm going to get my lettuce, and I'm going to just, let's think about that. Think about how we like it. I'm going to pop that one onto there. And then I'm going to peel this one off. And I'm going to, I'm going to pop that there. I can still see my cheese, and I can still see my ham. And now I'm going to stick these on top, and then I'll be back because there's just a little bit of trimming to do. So here's what I've got at the moment. I've got my cheese and my ham, and I've got my lettuce, and that is my sandwich, and everything is stuck down. But obviously I don't need all of this overhang, so I'm just going to go in with my scissors and just trim off the bits that I think that I don't need. I do want to have a little bit hanging out because of course sandwiches are never perfect, so that's kind of like what I'm aiming for. There's not too much overhang on this one, but I'm going to get rid of that all the same. So this is the sandwich, and I'm now going to see if we can get a close-up. We're now going to mount the whole thing onto the card. So I'll be back when I've glued that onto my card base. Okay, I'm back. I just straightened up my name here. I've been ruffling around with my match and everything, and here is the finished card. So you've got your lettuce, you've got your ham, you've got your cheese, you've got the crust on your bread, you've got that texture into the Dollar Tree foam board. We've used the marker for the crust. You've got your little sandwich flag there. You are the ham in my sandwich. You've got some lovely dimension. And that, I think, is just a great Valentine's Day card. Obviously, I will pop an easel onto the back of that so that it can stand up. But as an alternative and as an experiment, I don't think I did too badly. At least it wasn't a complete disaster. So that is what I have made for you today. I hope that you enjoyed it. As I said at the beginning, I will link back to that whole video so that you can see all of the measurements and all of the dies used today. You have a fabulous day, and I will be back tomorrow with some more MX art. Bye.